is so incredibly amazing to me, how I can read a story in the Bible that I have read through 1,000 times and read one passage that never caught my eye before. The only explanation I have is that God wanted me to hear this today. I was reading today in Matthew 27, and it was about Judas betraying Jesus. I have read this story over and over and over. I have taught this story over and over and over, and yet this small section has eluded me every single time. Matthew 27, 3-34 says, when Judas betrayed Jesus, then he was condemned and seized in remorse and returned the 30 silver coins to the chief priest and the elders. I have sinned, he said, for I have betrayed innocent blood. Why had I skimmed over those 2 verses for 40 plus years? I knew that Judas hung himself, which is stated in verse 5, but why did I not know Judas wanted to return the money and backpedal? That gives me empathy towards Judas that I never had before. Rather than seeing him as some evil, sinister man, I now see him as a greedy person who made a very big mistake, realized it, and wanted to be redeemed. But unlike Peter, who sought forgiveness and continued on in his ministry, Judas pulled the plug. He was overcome with remorse and killed himself. Those 2 small verses have changed my entire perspective on Judas. These verses caused me to see him as just a man who made a mistake. Yes, it was a huge mistake, but I have made huge mistakes which I certainly cannot take back. I, like Peter, chose to seek forgiveness and learn from my bad choices. He chose to end his life when God could have continued to use him so powerfully if he would have just not quit. You see, while they say God's word is alive, this is an example of what that means. When you are intentionally reading God's word slowly and thoughtfully, it's sort of like Jesus is sitting in the room there and says, here, I'm going to allow you to understand the depth of this small section in this huge book right now. Wow, what a blessing.